people way more than you would have in a normal year. But I also feel like I wouldn't say I ran with them, you know? Like, I would say I was, like, trying not to get lapped at Grand Slam, and so I think a little bit the way, like, some of the women's races in particular played out, I felt like maybe probably put a little bit of, like, a hit to my confidence in the grand scheme of things, which is, like, you know, but I do think, like, I'm grateful for the experience. It also is hard, like, looking back. I think there was so much excitement around it, and like I really didn't want to miss out on it and wanted to be a part of it. But looking back, it's like, was it the best idea to like run the 10K and then fly to Jamaica a week later and double? You know, like I think that kind of got me in maybe a little bit of a hole that took a bit to build out of. But it's hard in the sport. Like I think, especially my first couple of years, like I feel like everyone knows like with Jerry and Bowerman, you just like don't race as much, and I think that's something that I've like wanted to move a little more toward, is like racing a bit more and just getting more of that experience. So in that, like that was really exciting to me, and I think even though I wasn't pleased with most of those performances, there was something about like just like going through the race day, showing up and racing, and like getting more races under my belt.
So I guess the way World Athletics has kind of set this whole thing up now for the next couple of years is like the World Championship will be like the end of the season come the fall. So we're looking at like September, October World Championships going forward. And is that like kind of like a learning curve now? It's like we have Tokyo 2025 and how weird a lot of these championship races have been, that like going forward you guys will probably structure your season a little bit differently to prepare for a late championship.
For sure. I think it's like, it's two things. Like, I think that's something I definitely need to work on. Like I said, I think I get so excited at the beginning of the season, and that's something that I need to work on. Is like, I think even with training, is just like not getting greedy too early and looking at it like as, you know, a 10 or 11 month training cycle. So that's definitely something I'm still working on, and like having that longer term approach instead of being like, I'm excited about this one workout this 1 week. But I do like the structure of like ending with the championship. Granted, today it's like, now when you just ask that, I'm like I wish there was a diamond league or something I could redeem myself, and that is always hard, right? Like when you feel like you put together like a ton of fitness and you just feel like there weren't very many like full opportunities to let it show. But I do like I like having a championship at the end. I think it's nice to just like be able to fully do a taper and fully be like, this is it, not like, oh, I'm gonna maybe try to hang on like another month of the season.
So I'm wondering, do you do the same training as like say 5 years ago, or do you try to change it up? I mean,
no, it's definitely different. It's been different probably the last like year and a half. Yeah.
And is that just because, I mean, you got sort of the top of the U.S., but there's a big gap between the top of the U.S. and the top of the world now. You got to be kind of near 14 flat. Like, did you purposely change it up, thinking I've got to like force it down almost?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely change it up just with a new coach. But that's something like Jared and I definitely want to talk about in this off season. Because like, especially like, I've said this a bunch of times, but like watching like the guys in Paris last year, and it's like I was teammates with Grant in college and at Bowerman. It's just like watching a lot of these guys take that next step is like so inspiring, and I think that's made me a little bit like had a little bit of a tough relationship with the sport, because it's like, man, I feel like I'm changing things or like making improvements, but then I feel like when I get to this global stage, it's like even in the 10K, I'm like I've been like 9th to 12th. I mean, 5 times at this point in like the 10 and the 5, and it's like, it's super frustrating. It's like, what else you need to do in training, or like, you know, and I feel like a lot of people have said this in various races and in the championships, but it's like, it's really hard showing up feeling like you did everything you could and being like, that's getting me 12 and running like 14:30 something, and it's like, that's really hard when, you know, the top of the top are running 14 flat and sub 29, you know. It's like we need to even get Americans like sub 30 to start, but it's like even that is like, you know, you want to go after sub 30, but you're still over a minute off, you know. And it's like, if anyone has any advice, please share, because it's frustrating, and it's hard to like keep that momentum in the sport, because that's what I said. It's like I never take making a team or like making a final or any of that for granted, but it's also like, man, it's hard when you feel like you're like reliving the same race over and over and over, and you just like show up and like, you know, it's just changing training, or, you know, working with a sports psych, or changing nutrition. It's just like dialing all those things, and it feels like when it still gets you the same result, it's hard, which you wouldn't change, you know. Like, you don't want to leave and be like, oh, I got 12 and like I could have done 10 million things better, but it is that hard relationship where you leave and you're like, yeah, like, do I just need to drastically do a different kind of training at this point? Like, I don't know. That's something to figure out.
Maybe move back to the 1500 because it's just.
I mean, I've been thinking about that. I mean, I already said last year, someone asked me after the 10 if I was going to do cross, and I said no. I already told Jared, I was like, I want to just do 8s and 15s next year. I want to run 158 and 355, so that's what I want to do. So I'm happy to take a break from the 10 and the 5.
355, you might as well run the American record.
Yeah, 34.9. So yeah, I mean, I think I want to go back and work on that too, because I do think, like, you're asking about training, but I definitely will say, like, you've been working with a sports psych, it's like it is tough mentally to, like, when you feel like you've run the same race, like it's hard to break out of that. So I think just like doing, which is really cool, like with COVID getting to have 5 championships in a row, but I definitely don't think I quite realized exactly what that's taken just to be like on every single year for the last 5 years.
World Cross?
Probably not.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. It is cool that it is in the U.S., but yeah, I'm just like super excited right now about 8s and 15s and just like trying to do a bunch of speed and get kind of that sort of form back. But we'll see. Never say never. Thank you.